Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Four Dads Podcast with your host Don Julio and myself Tease. I believe we're like 103 or 104. It's still crazy to me that we're in triple digits, honestly.
I think it's
Uh
104.
104, 104. But yeah, a lot of good golf that's been going on over the last week and a half. I think you got the Mexico Open. Is that the one in? Is that in Tulum, or is that the was Tulum where they played in the Live tournament? And was it the PGA Tour? Are they in Cabo? Do you know where the Mexico tournament is?
Looking at it right now. Uh, it's called the Vedanta World uh, Rivera Maya. It's Vidya Val
Oh, the
Vallatera.
course, yeah.
Yeah.
Vedanta Vallarta. So maybe Puerto Vallarta? No?
No, it says Pacific Coast of Mexico.
Oh, Vallarta, Mexico.
Yeah, just oh yeah, there it is, Puerto Vallarta. There you go. Yeah,
All right, yeah. I mean, I just know at least for the Mexico tournament, I feel like that was like for at least a few years. That was what's his name? The guy from Norway. Uh, Blanking on his name. I can see his face. Victor Hovland. That was like his tournament that he like won. That was like one of the first ones that he won, and then he won it like for like a few years. And
yeah,
just overall, I feel like this was one of those tournaments. I think it was after what was the big one that was right before it? Was it the Genesis that was right before it? And then like people are just like taking it off. A lot of like the big names are taking it off. And
yep,
so like you got a lot of younger, not as, you know, not trying to bash them because being in the PGA Tour is just so difficult in general, but none of the top guys, are there.
yeah,
But it's still made for like a pretty solid tournament, and the playoff was insane. I mean, what was his name? Ryan Campbell is his name, the winner.
Brian,
Uh,
Brian Campbell.
Brian Campbell. He had, I mean, dude, imagine like your first potential playoff win or your first potential PGA Tour win of your life. I think he's been in the pros for at least like 5 to 10 years. Like he's been around for a while, just has
Mhm.
never won. And you get to the playoff, and I think they tied the first hole, or is it the first hole that he had that shot?
Yeah, yeah,
Was it
they
the
tied
first
the
hole?
first hole.
They
Hmm.
told the tie the first hole, and they come on back, and like I think the first guy teed off, the kid from South Africa hits in the fairway, and then Brian comes up, dude, and shanks it into the trees. And imagine being that guy from South Africa, like, all right, let's go. Okay, we're gonna be up a shot, and the ball just hits a tree and bounces right in the fairway, right in the middle of the fairway. Like the
Hmm.
odds of that, the kick was just wild, and he ended
Yeah,
up winning the whole fun, winning the tournament from that. Like, just insane.
it was. I mean, it definitely was a roller coaster of a tournament. I mean, that kid from South Africa, Aldridge, was leading. I think he was leading the majority of the tournament. But the thing that amazed me was on that par five. It was like 300 or I'm sorry, 670 something yards. He hits driver 375 with like a flip 6 iron into the hole. It was unbelievable. I mean,
Jeez.
the guy absolutely demolishes the ball. And I guess when he was on like the amateur circuit, he averaged the longest carry in the amateur circuit, averaging 340 yards of carry on his drives.
Jeez, man. I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of people that play golf is insane because, like, I feel like when guys come up, even if you like follow amateur golf, like it's impossible to know everybody because there's so many good players all around the world,
Oh,
and all
that's
of a sudden you'll be like, "Who is this guy?" And then you'll like someone had already done their homework, or someone actually actually followed him, and you're like, you see all the accolades that they racked up, and you're like, "Oh my gosh!" And like, I no wonder he's where he is instead of just a lightning in a bottle. This guy actually kind of
yep.
earned it. It's just wild how many really good players that are out there, and it just makes it even more difficult to make to the PGA Tour, with all the other tours out there, and it's just insane. And then I think he missed like what, like a 3.5, 4 foot putt,
Yeah.
which was somewhat straight. It wasn't terrible putt, it wasn't hard, super difficult, but yeah, that was why. I mean, that was great. I'm sure for the PGA, the fact that it made the playoff and made it pretty exciting. Um, yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing like as start to finish as the other ones just because of not as many of the top players were in it, but I was still, kind of checking in on it every few days. And
I kind of honestly, I kind of got a lot of my updates from TikTok and Instagram because in our house it's been a lot of Daniel Tiger. It's been a lot of Daniel.
dude, yes, yes, I got
Been a
my
lot.
son has been watching a lot of the end. Want to be
It's been a
my
lot of Daniel
neighbor,
Tiger.
dude? Oh my gosh, I'm like gonna freaking lose it with that song.
Oh, dude, we all get in and sing it, and then like my daughter has that Tony box, and so we got the Daniel Tiger Tony
Is it like
box
little
too.
cards?
Yeah, no,
Yep.
it's like the toy, but it's got a magnetic bottom and it sings all the songs. So it's like
Oh, I
the
don't know. I don't know if
potties.
it's something different.
Yeah, it's the potty song, then it's the neighborhood song, then it's like thankful day, all the different
Oh
ones.
my gosh, thankful day. Thank you
So
day. Thank you
yeah,
day.
thank you. There you go. So we've been listening to a lot of that. But the tournament looked good.
Mhm.
Um, you were telling me you had just recently got your bulge irons, huh?
No, no, I did not get my bulge irons. Definitely did not. So just put out a video today. Was it yesterday? No. Was it yesterday? I went to the range. Was Wednesday? I think it might have been Wednesday. I went to the range on Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday. Brandon said that the bulge irons were going to be in, so I could like try them out. Like they're not obviously mine, but tried them out, and just posted a video today of me hitting them, and they were Mike Shy's actually. So Mike Shy
Mm,
just joined the Avoda team. If you see like on
nice.
their actual
I
channel
did.
Avoda, he joined
Yeah.
them, and so I was expecting it to be like a fitting set. Where you can change the heads and like swap out shafts and stuff like that, which I was really hoping so I can put my shaft in there to try to see how it would feel with mine. But it ended up being his set that he was created for him specifically. It was like 90 gram stiff X or something like that. It looked like a regular stiff shaft. It had an R on it. And honestly, in the video, I even said, "Oh, regular shaft." Okay. So, and it hit it pretty well, but it was only a 5 iron. I was only giving it a 5 iron. I wasn't let like a 6, 7, or 8 or
The
whatever.
whole set. Yeah.
So I was like, "That kind of sucks. I don't really hit their fives too well, and they're very strong." But surprisingly, I was hitting them pretty well, pretty straight. I didn't really hit too many off center. If anything, I thinned them, clipped it out of the video so no one could see that because there's no reason to see that if you're gonna thin a ball, and I haven't played again like as consistent as I had over the last like 8 months. But when I did like square it up, man, like they felt great. They looked
Yeah.
awesome. Um, but I was kind of again just bummed that it was just a 5 iron, but at the same time, still bummed that it was also not like a fitted set or not
Yeah.
a fitting set. So good irons overall, but definitely probably one of the first people ever to really hit those things because you can't even get them now. There you have to still wait till like mid June. But yeah, I mean, even going back to the round that we were going to play, unfortunately, due to kid's sickness, which I totally get, who he wasn't able to make it out. So I ended up just going out there. I'm still editing the video. It just takes up so much time, and I had other videos that I wanted to put out. Um, like just watching my stuff back, it's just crazy because like I pair it up to like my other videos and other like times that I'm playing, and you could just tell I have more of the John. At least that round, I have more of the John Daly arm. Like how his arm just goes way up, and that's how my videos look. When you slow them down, you can see it. You can't really tell too much when you're watching it regular, but when you slow it down compared to my other videos where my arm just closer to my body, definitely something I need to still just work on. I'm surprised I made some consistent contact with my swing going farther than it normally does. But overall, played a pretty solid round. I think I shot like an 82, uh,
Nice.
2 birdies on par fives. Uh, dude, but my this was the first round again that I played with Brandon's irons that I'm currently using. And again, we've talked about it before. Voda, their lofts are super strong.
Hmm.
And dude, there was one. Was it the first time that? Well, no, the first. So the second hole was a 161, I think, 161, slightly downhill, so maybe playing at like 155. I had a 45-degree pitching wedge. Wind was going with me, so it's behind my back, like going downhill, slightly to the left. And dude, I probably cranked it probably like 170. and it just like went way past the hole towards like one of the hills, and I was like, "Holy crap! Okay, did not expect that." Then 2 holes later, I'm 130 out, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll go with the 50 degree." That's usually about I think like 120,
Hmm.
125 is my 50 degree with my Titleist, and this is the first time with the Avoda wedges, so I honestly haven't really swung with the wedges. Great contact. Like, I'm just like, "Okay, perfect." I hit it. I make great contact. It's going towards the green, perfect. Clears it by like 25, 30 yards. Like, flies it, like, almost there's like a fence. It goes green, hill, and then it was over the hill almost to the fence, which was, like, near the road, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Like, I watch it, I'm like, "Okay, nice, nice, nice." See it land, I'm like, "What the heck?" And dude, my guesses were so off, and I was just so scared. The only time that I actually hit a I mean, like, by hitting a good shot, I mean the right distance, not I was flushing him. I was actually surprisingly hitting good contact. I just could not get the distances right. But, I think it's like the 14th hole, par 3, and, actually got within like 15, 20 feet, on a par 3, hit it right down the middle. A little bit of a fade on accident, supposed to be a cut or a draw. But the one really cool thing about the course, which I was really surprised about, was, dude, the bunkers were looked like they redid every single bunker on the course. Like, not
Mm.
just like they just like, raked it really well, but like the sand legitimately looked like brand new. I'm trying to think like how do I describe it? It looked very, very white. Like, kinda reminded me of, like, the Masters, and then within, like, a foot to 2 feet of the edge of every single sand trap was brand new grass. Looks like they just,
Wow.
like, redid everything right around there compared to everything else, which was more dry, but that was there. You could tell that they just did every single one of these. I only hit into one bunker, and dude, I literally just put my hand in the sand and, like, picked it up, and it was just, like, so soft. It wasn't, choppy. It wasn't, like, hard. It was very soft, and it was really cool, and I was like, "What the heck, dude? Like, I've never seen this before, at least here." Normally, it's kinda darker, more chunky, harder of a ground sometimes, and, at least for there, when I played there before, it's been, like, kinda hard, so I'm really glad they
Hmm.
did that, but you would really like the course, dude. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting video, but, yeah, I was happy. I shot, like, a 10 over, and, definitely grinded, and I need to work on these wedges, man, especially with the, just my distances. This is gonna be a tough few months. I'll tell you that much. I gotta get these distances down.
Yeah. No, so I've really only spent time on the range with my voters, but they feel great. I mean, I've yet to hit like an actual golf ball, with them that isn't a range ball.
Right.
Um, but the distances are crazy. Like that's the one thing is like I am legitimately carrying my pitching wedge like 167 now. And just like with what I feel is like a smooth 80% swing. And
Mhm.
it's high, but they're also a little bit lower spinning. So
Mm, mhm.
I'm having to kind of like really make sure I kind of take a little bit of a divot so I can get some spin on
Some
them.
spin. Yeah.
But but again, like I haven't. I mean, that's just range ball, so
Yeah. Right.
it might be when I'm playing mine. But I am playing this weekend on Sunday,
Oh,
early
nice. Okay.
morning. So it's a skins game. So I'll probably just try and get a couple shots from like the fairway. I don't know if I'll be able to get my putts because
Mhm. Mhm.
it's a big game. But
Yeah.
I mean, everyone who has seen my bag is like, what are those? I'm like, oh, they're Avodas. The other thing is like when when I hit them like on the nail, dude, it makes like a waka
Mhm.
sound. I mean, it echoes. So like when I was on the range, I had a couple people that are like, "Man, you're either your club is broken or like the ball is just breaking on the face." And I was like, "It's probably the ball." You know, like I mean, and what's nice is because it's like that gunmetal gray,
Mhm.
finish, like you can see like the cover of the ball just getting ripped off of the face on those things, which is nice. Um, I was telling Brandon actually today because I'm happy with the clubs, but I'm having a little buyer's remorse on
The
the
color.
on the yeah. I wish
Yeah.
I would have just waited and got the black ones with the black onyx shaft because I just feel like it would just look absolutely filthy.
Of
And so
course. Of course.
the gray looks good. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just think looking at them now, I'm like, oh. And then I saw today they dropped their they're
The
oil rig.
bronze.
Yeah, the oil rig like color
Well, yeah,
ones, which are
those ones are like I think like a not a raffle, but a bid where it
yeah,
starts at like
yeah.
5 grand and then it
Mhm.
can go up and yeah, don't get me wrong, they look great, but at the same time, it's like,
I just think it's weird
eh.
that I was gonna say I just think it's weird that everybody's doing it. So Titleist just dropped theirs today, right?
Oh,
Titleist
really?
just dropped their SM10s
Oh, okay.
oil
Yeah.
oil rigged ones like that, and they're starting off at like $249.
No way.
I'm like, that's insane, dude. That's literally
People are dumb, dude. I mean, it looks
yeah.
beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but like, I mean, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been thinking about it as well. I've been talking with Brandon as well, and I'm like, dude, like, how are the faces? Do they like he has his original first set that he had with Avoda, he were black heads, and he showed me those, and he's like overall, like they do okay, like they do pretty good in his opinion. And he showed me them, and he's like, the back looked good. He's like, no one ever looks at the actual face. Like you look at the face, obviously it's going to be worn, but the back looks pretty solid still. And he's like, the new version of like the bulge face ones that I'm looking into, those ones he said are better material, are newer material that the
Mhm.
old ones don't have, and those ones he said will last better and will last longer, whatever. So I'm in the since I haven't ordered them yet, I'm still like, okay, do I go now all black? Like you're kind of making it sound pretty dope, like,
They
or do
look
I,
dude,
or do I
like I
stick
said,
with the silver? It's like just
like I said,
depends.
the top line on them looks just like my Apexes, which I was like, wow, this looks nice, right?
Right? Yeah.
Um, so I really like the top line on like looking down at the seven, and I just again I'm just like, man, I just feel like just having the full blacked out bag because my wedges are black, right? I have the black shaft in those. Like that'd just be so. I was
Um,
like, that'd just be so cool. But I mean, I'm happy with
what do you
them.
say?
Like,
What do you say? That would.
he said he said I don't know if I could swap out the heads, but he's like, if you want the black shafts, I could definitely get you those.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, but I mean, other than that, super happy with them. The putter Issa's got me for Christmas is just lights out. I
You're gonna
mean,
send me a picture of that. I want to see what that looks like.
yeah, I will. It's great. I'm like I stand over every putt. I'm like, yeah, I can make this. This is no problem. That's how good it feels. Um, but dude, did you see? Is it Jake Knapp?
I didn't. I saw some of the highlights from his round, but yeah, I know he shot a dude. Okay, so the crazy
15
thing
9.
is the Cognizant Classic. I think it used to be called the Honda Classic, where they're playing at PJ
Yeah,
National with the Bear Trap.
yeah.
And I saw Billy Horschel. Did you hear his little interview where he's like,
Hmm.
the what do they call it? The rough isn't that penalizing. Like the scores are going to go so low this week. It's just like it's not even. It's like insane how easy it is to hit a bad shot and get out of it. And so
Hmm.
then Jake Knapp goes and shoots a freaking 59. I think it's what, like the 30th or something, like one that they've had like in PGA Tour history.
15th.
15. Wait, 1-5?
Hmm.
Oh, never mind. I was doubling that number. 15 sounds a lot better
Yeah.
than 30. Wow.
Well, but he just missed 58. Like that was a thing. That putt on 18
No, I thought he
was
birdied 18. Unless he
no,
could have
he
eagled it. Was it a par five?
I don't know, but he had one where it like he had just lifted and it was like, oh,
Mm.
for a 58, and then it's like,
Oh,
well,
really?
there's a
Okay.
69. Yeah,
Dude.
yeah,
One thing I thought was wild was yesterday he shot a 59 and today he shot a 1 under.
yeah.
That's golf, baby. And he's I think he's tied he's first by like a stroke or something. And it's just so crazy, dude, how you could just kill it one day and just not that he didn't kill it, but obviously the conditions can change after a day. And yeah, I mean, I think he's won a tournament. I think he played at
Hmm.
UCLA. Dude, his swing is just so smooth.
He's just so smooth, dude. He's
It
just
just looks
like,
so fluid. Like he's just not even trying. Like somebody who's like running really, really fast, but it looks like they're running
yeah.
slow. It looks like they're jogging because it's so smooth. It's just something
Hmm.
just just beautiful. Beautiful. Just a great swing. Great swing.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was telling my buddy, I was like, if I were to make any adjustment to my swing, I want to do exactly what Jake Knapp is doing. Like just smooth takeaway, drop it into the slot, and just fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's exactly what I want to do. But He's got so like he's sponsored by PXG, but he's playing Ping Woods, and then he's got the PXG irons and wedges. Like that's gotta be that's gotta be so nice to be able to go and fire off with some PXG wedges like that.
What do they call it? The sugar daddies or
Yeah, Sugar Daddy wedges.
sugar
Oh,
daddy wedges?
he's actually hitting the QI 35 driver.
So he's tailor-made driver.
TaylorMade driver, pink 3 wood, and PXG irons.
You don't really find unless he's like not sponsored by the like those. You don't really find it too often where somebody that of his caliber that's won a tournament, his name is somewhat known, that he's not
Hmm.
all something. Especially when you have someone like PXG that makes every single club in the bag, and they're pretty high up there in quality. You know, with other professional golfers and even like YouTube golfers. I think Busted Jack used them for a while before Tacoma.
Hmm.
Um, because like I feel like I always find if I always like that's one thing that I like to do is when I'm watching players play golf is I'm like, okay, what are they wearing? You know, like it's like okay, like 9 times out of 10, anyone that wears like a FootJoy polo has like 5 or 6 different logos on their shirts. But if they're wearing
Hmm.
a Nike polo, there's
It's like
never
one.
any extra. No, there's no other logos besides Nike. They don't ever,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like, just think about it. Like, I can't tell you any player that has any other logo on a Nike pole that's not Nike besides, you know, anything that's FootJoy or any other kind of Peter Millar or any other, you know, company that has a bunch of different polo or logos on there, which I find is interesting. But one of the combos, who was it? Was it Cam Smith? Who else? What? Not Cam Smith. Who's the guy from not Australia? His name's Cam something. He
And
just almost
Cam
won.
Smith.
No, not the guy from Australia. This is another. His name's Cam as well. It's not Cam Young. Anyway, he all Nike attire, but he played Titleist.
Mm.
And I was like, dude, that's a great combo. That's a solid combo. Usually, it's like if you're all Titleist, usually you're wearing all FootJoy as well, since they're pretty much tied in together. But when you see a mixed bag on the PGA Tour, I find that very, very rare unless they're just coming up with their own stuff, coming out of their own pocket, and they've have their preferences before they get signed with somebody, and they're kind of like stuck with whatever that the company has.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like with Knapp, that's kind of crazy. I didn't know that he played
Yeah. So
a few different teams.
he's got a pretty good
Diverse.
mix. Yeah, he's got a pretty diverse bag. So he has the TaylorMade burner mini driver. He won the Mexican Open 2024 and the Farmers Insurance Open 2024. He's got the PXG Sugar Daddy 2 wedge and an SM9 Vokey wedge.
Hmm.
Um, he's got he's got the Ping G425 LST driver.
Wait, so he does that and the Q?
Hmm.
I thought you said he has the QI 10 or 35 or whatever.
So it's a QI fairway wood, QI 10 fairway wood.
Oh, okay. Oh, dang. So he has Ping and so he
Yeah,
has Ping, PXG,
TaylorMade.
TaylorMade, and
Hmm.
Titleist.
And Titleist, and
Wow.
he's got a Scotty Cameron Phantom 9.2 Circle T putter.
Hmm.
Yeah,
He's all over the place, man. That's crazy.
he is. And then and sorry, and he hits a Shrixon ZU85 utility iron. But
Oh, utility iron. I thought you were gonna say golf ball. Wow.
no, but it's his logo. It looks like he's sponsored by the Ducks. He's got the Ducks logo on his clothing.
Well, I think he went to UCLA, so that would kind of make sense that being in LA if he is from LA.
Yeah,
Like as in like the Anaheim Ducks?
yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't know about you, but like when I was playing my round last week, I was just thinking like I was playing from the Blues and all the par fives I think were either like just over 500 yards or just under 500 yards, like 496 or whatever. And I'm like, dude, if I just hit the ball if you have like not really much wind, I can hit it. I can hit it 300. If I obviously hit it well, and that makes every hole, or at least like no more than 200 yards in from the fairway.
Yeah.
I'm like, That's insane. That like
I
a
mean,
lot of these
I've seen you carry one 375 into the
No,
bunker.
I know. I know. Yeah, wind aided. That was why I still can't believe
Still.
that. Yeah, no, I know. And I even like posted the swing. It just doesn't even look like I'm swinging that hard.
Hmm.
But like I'm just trying to say, like, in terms of my 3 wood, and I think my 3 wood I get from like 250 to 260. The farthest I've hit is like 315, which is wild. Obviously, it probably bounced a bit, but like still, like for me, I feel like that's crazy, and that's why I feel like all these, professional PGA Tour courses, the live, all their par fives are so long. Like 550 plus has to be like a par five because all these guys are hitting 300 minimum,
Hmm.
and they have to make it somewhat difficult to reach it in two. Because if you're just like again, if we were just playing, if you play with me, it would have been like under 500 yards, and it's like you're in the fairway. It's like under 200 yards or under, and like that is very it's not as much of a risk as it should be for the average golfer. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but it's just like crazy how,
Yeah.
oh, that could be like a 7 iron. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, I don't know if it's the game that's changed or just, I don't know what it is, man, but it's just crazy. You know what I mean? Like
I think it's a combination of
equipment.
equipment, but also like, yeah, I mean, certain courses that haven't made any adjustments, right? I mean, I don't know if you watched the video where Grant Horvath is playing with Adam Scott, right?
Yeah, I did. I did.
And so Adam Scott's talking about, he's like, yeah, he's like, they're trying to make it longer, but he's like, that's not going to do anything. He's like, if anything, it just forces players to now have to hit a ultra low spinning shot, which means that shots can get sporadic if they're off. But he's like, guys will learn how to do it. But he
Hmm.
says, but he goes, if you keep a course short, but you bring trouble,
Hmm.
within like 80, 100 yards of it, it forces players to kind of play more conservatively, and then forces a wedge or a full shot um into their approach, right? And
Yeah.
he goes, that's hard. He goes, because if he goes, it's great if I have a wedge in my hand, but um he goes, if I'm on a par four that's 420 yards, I hit my drive, 300, 290, but there's a bunch of bunkers around there.
Hmm.
I have to be more precise now. And
Yeah.
then he goes, let's just say I hit that 3 wood that goes 275, 280. Now I'm leaving myself at least a 9 iron in, which is still, I got to put a good swing on it. And
Yeah.
and then Grant talks about something. He's like, hey, like you played. He goes, you played with Tiger like in his prime. He's like, what was that like? And he goes, it was different because he really did have wedges into a lot of holes where guys
Weren't
were still
having the wedges.
we're not playing wedges. And then
Hmm.
he talks about like the mental game that Tiger would play with people is like unbelievable. But it kind of rose some good points because it's like, we're watching Augusta constantly make adjustments because now you have guys like Bryson who are coming in, right?
Hmm.
Their whole thing is, oh, we're going to plant more trees so that way he actually has to work the ball or do
Hmm.
something to hit over. Well, why not just throw a couple more bunkers in there and make it tough for everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, the course is already hard enough. I mean, you can't tell the wind there. You can't. Well, you can, but
I mean, yeah,
it's
but
still
no, but the
hard.
trees are so high that it makes it difficult to really know once the ball gets up
Yeah,
above them, where's that wind really playing?
yeah, yeah, totally. And speaking of Augusta, right? Have you watched any of Full Swing yet?
I watched the whole thing. Yeah, I was going to talk about that.
I when they were showing the wind conditions at Augusta, I thought that was crazy. I didn't realize that it was that bad that year.
I remember. I remember it was really
Yeah.
windy. I mean, obviously, you don't see it. You just see from the televised cameras.
Hmm.
Since there's no phones allowed, on the
Yeah.
actual course, the only like different angles you're going to get was the full swing cameras, which was cool to see actually
Yeah.
there. So
Well, just to see that, like the sand, even though it's not even sand, it's like broken down rock.
yeah,
Like
right,
the way
yeah,
it's flying out, I'm like, dude, for anybody who's on the green that's like downwind of that, they're getting hit with like little pebbles. Like
yeah.
that has to
Hmm.
hurt.
Yeah, dude, that reminds me like what 20 it has to be like what 25 years ago we had a tournament in Riverside, California for baseball, and 65-mile-an-hour winds, dude. I still remember this tournament. Playing baseball, it was brutal. You had, I think it was going like right to left, so it was going towards right field, like, and so you would have that like people were playing the right fielder was on the right field line, literally. The center fielder was right field, and then the left fielder was literally playing slightly just left of where center field is because every ball would just whoosh, and we ended up like in the same thing where I played in the outfield. My buddies that were playing in the infield would be like, dude, when those gusts come, man, and you turned rocks right to the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
And I still remember that night, one of the last times I think we had like one of the playoff games or whatever, and they ended up canceling the tournament because the lights kept going out because of how windy it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, everyone was like, yeah, let's go home. This is ridiculous. But like, yeah, the wind is freaking insane. I thought Full Swing was interesting, but at the same time, I'm like, a year for 7 freaking episodes. That's it. That's all we got. 7 episodes. Like, I'm like, really? Like, I got through that so quickly, and I got 2 kids. Like, I got through like in a day and a half. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Like, it was great
Yeah.
for the 7 episodes, but I'm like, I want more, more.
I thought it was good too, but I also kind of felt like they left a lot of stuff out. I mean, they still continue to highlight the same players that they've been highlighting, every year, and it's like, okay, Justin really didn't have that good of a season to where I think that he even deserved, the opportunity to continue talking.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Sahith, they brought in Tony Fee now. It's
Mm-hmm.
like still, it's like all the same guys that are just like they're great in front of cameras because they're very what's the word
Personable. They're known.
yeah, exactly, they're very personable. But it's like, dude, you guys didn't really do anything that great,
Dude.
like
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
so.
I will say though, the one thing, dude, that jerked me was freaking Camilo Villegas, dude, and his family. I had
Oh yeah,
no idea that he had to go through that with his daughter, and that's just like having a daughter now, and just a kid in general. Just like thinking about
mhm,
that and putting yourself in his shoes and what they had to go through. It's just like, oh, dude, that's just so tough. Like,
yeah. Well,
so
even
sad.
the whole thing with Woodland, like
Dude, that
brain
too. Yeah, the
surgery.
letters that he said he wrote his kids, just in case, he wasn't gonna make it from like his it was a tumor, right? It was a tumor.
Yeah,
Um
yeah,
just and the fact that, dude, like a lot of these pro golfers, a lot of them, not all of them, maybe not Shane Lowry, no disrespect to him because he's a stud, but are like multi, sport athletes. Like Woodland played basketball at Division One college, and then after his freshman year, what do you say? I faced Kirk Heinrich, and I was like, yeah, okay, this maybe not for me. And then just went to University of Kansas, no problem on a
yeah,
golf scholarship, like freaking wild.
yeah. But hey, I'm sorry, I gotta end this a little bit early.
No worries.
Gotta go feed the kiddo.
All right, man. Hope
All
you guys
right.
enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to stay fly and go low, and we'll see you guys next week.